It's easy to lead when you have days and hours. It's tough as heck to lead when you have minutes and seconds. And that's the thing. Now, Sean McDermott, who openly professed to be a Christian man the other day, which nowadays takes courage to do, said, our world is a better place when we love first, think about people first. I think we will, and be positive first. Our world can learn from what happened from this week. And he is 1,000% right. Hey, welcome to another Coaching You podcast with the Coach Brendan Suhr, and Happy New Year 2023. Zach Kendrick and I are very, very excited to get into another year. I think one of the really neat things is I was talking to my friend Mano Watson, owner and director of PGC basketball about 6 weeks ago, and I asked him, "What are you doing now since you run 8 trillion camps in the summer?" And he said, we spend so much time on planning. He said, it's the key to our success is all the planning we do in the off season. And Zach and I have taken that to heart. We're so excited because this is our 15th year of Coaching You. And for those of you who have been following us for that time or have been attending the clinics, you know it. And for those of you who have jumped on recently, we are not something that's just come into being. We're someone that's been out there for a long time. And when Kevin Eastman and I, my former partner, started this back in 2008-9, it was just to, frankly, fill a void where we thought, coaches, especially college coaches, assistant coaches especially, needed development. And that's how we started. And then it's just grown and it's taken off, and the brand has been incredible. But more importantly, the people that follow us have really been exceptional because they demanded more from us. And then that's how we adjusted our business. So we're really excited, Zach. And, I think this year is going to be, as we say, it's going to be the most special year yet.
No, I agree. Obviously everything's coming up. Appreciate you having me on board. You and Kevin did a tremendous job early, starting off with, being in the hotel ballrooms, as you always like to say, and growing. And even in just the last 5 years since I've been here, I feel like we've come a long way, and it's pretty awesome, and we always look forward to getting into the gym each summer and all the great people we get to meet along the way. And this year is sure to be no different.
One of the things in our areas of planning that we do, and we grew from just a 2-day event, once a year that Kevin and I would do, starting in Las Vegas, at the Palm Hotel years ago, and to now, we have a couple events in Vegas. We have our Coaching You Live VIP event, which is we like to call it the most amazing 2-day clinic in the world because of the speakers. You just don't get NBA speakers like we've had over the amount of years. I mean, the very best of the best. I mean, it's a hall of fame of speakers to the, from, the great, the Billy Donovans of the world, and, the Rick Carlisles, and, and then, Eder Messina, maybe the greatest coach in the world, not coaching in the NBA right now. Just amazing talent, and people from all over the world attend. But more importantly, we are now going to feature some speakers from around the world, and we're really excited about that, Zach.
For sure.
The front office training camp, which we added last year, had been something that we had done in one of our works with the NBA Players Association. That front office training camp, that is just an amazing event, because what we try to do there is there are some coaches that frankly don't want to, they want to try something else. At the NBA level, I was a coach for many, many years, but I also was an executive for several years. And, in Atlanta and in Detroit, and then, of course, with the Knicks. And, each time, you do that, it's a different skill set. So what we've done is we've done something that for coaches or non-coaches that want to move into the front office or try something there in professional basketball, or just help your organization of a college program or even a high school program. This has really captured our people. But most importantly, as always, it's the speakers. Just like our coaching clinic, it's the incredible NBA coaches that speak. But on this level, it's the executives that we have in the front office. We have the very best presidents of teams, general managers, world-class scouts, the people that really have done the collective bargaining agreements for the Players Association, the most knowledgeable person in the world on salary cap, in my opinion, Bobby Marks from ESPN, who's a 20-plus year executive in the NBA. It never stops. And they are so willing to help our young people and that are coming through there to really master their craft. They enjoy it, and I love it. To me, it's really the most fun that I have, because I can really see people that are learning something that, we all think we can coach. I don't care if you're coaching a youth team or a high school team, you think you can coach, but none of us have ever been in this area. And when you learn from the best and they're giving you everything, the thing that I think has really impressed me about what we do at Coaching You is, if you're going to speak for us, the only thing we ask is that you share everything you can from your heart. And that is what happens. Sometimes you go to different coaching clinics and the coaches don't share. They tell jokes for 15 minutes and they put up some BS drills or some half-ass offense. You don't really get anything out of it. But when you come and see, in the 50 minutes or an hour that they're speaking, they are giving you things that you've never seen maybe before, and they're showing you exactly what they do with their professional team and players. And that's what I think makes us so different from everyone else, Zach.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And to your point about the front office event, like, to me, that's the most fun thing that we do, in my opinion. The clinic is great. We're all in gyms, but you really don't get the opportunity to learn from a lot of these people before. But even though it is a lot more subject matter centered more towards the front office, I think there's something in there for everyone. Dan Berg from Duquesne, he made it a point just to stress of how much, even as a coach, it benefited him being in the room last year. And, it's very much like a seminar setting. You come in, you've got the speaker on the stage with you, and they're sharing everything. They're peeling back the curtain. There was really no question that went unanswered. Everyone really was super transparent, and you're getting to hear stuff that you're not seeing publicly, right? We had someone who will remain unnamed, but basically share, a trade that almost happened 10 years ago involving a very prominent NBA player that we had never heard of, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. You're going to learn a lot, but whether you're in there, it's some of the leadership lessons that you're going to get, these people are the top of their profession for a reason, and it's always amazing to learn from those guys.
What makes us also unique, Zach? This event is in Las Vegas, so everyone enjoys being there. We're running in conjunction with the NBA Summer League there. So, you get to see basketball, and every NBA team is there. Every international coach or general manager is there looking for players. All the G League people are there. And the G League has become a huge part of the NBA because you're a huge baseball fan, and it's like having the Red Sox or Yankees AAA team there, and so there's so much learning going on. And I just think it's an amazing environment for us. But the thing that makes it, both of our events, we limit an enrollment. And the plus of that is that you get to ask questions. You get to meet people. And in our front office event, they don't leave the stage until every question has been answered, and everyone gets to participate. And in our coaching clinic, you're intimately sitting around the court where you can almost reach out and touch the speaker, and then and they will stay there and answer 10, 15 minutes of questions for you to teach that he might not, that had nothing to do with the presentation that he did, but just things that you're curious about, what Nick Nurse wants to talk about, what Doc Rivers wants to tell you about. Billy Donovan gave the most incredible world-class talk about mental wellness last year, and then talked afterwards questions about basketball. I just think it's something that this event has been designed so that, our planning that you and I do over months has to do with making sure we get speakers that fill in the gaps of all the things that we want taught, but at the same time that have such a wide span of knowledge for them. And I think that is so cool. So July 8 and 9 will be Saturday, Sunday will be our coaching clinic in Las Vegas, which is at Coral Science Academy, which is in Henderson, which is just an incredible, it's almost like an NBA practice facility. So it's very intimate and right up close, and we really treat all of our people exceptionally well that come, from our T-shirts to our notebooks, to lunch and dinners, each day, but more importantly, the opportunity to really learn. And the fellowship, we have people that have attended. I have 2 people that have attended. This will be their 15th year of coming. They've never missed an event. That is cool. And something that really makes, and it's almost like it's a fraternity, sorority. Men and women coaches come from people from all over. Debbie Antonelli, one of the greatest Hall of Fame women basketball announcer, was a great player. She comes every year so she can stay up on what the latest things are in the profession so that she can be a better broadcaster. But that's what I love about it. And that's what makes it so special. We have a great presenting sponsor, partnership with Hudl, who's the world-class people, in the area of resource for coaches, that really help coaches become better. And what they do with their video, it really helps coaches at every level become incredible. And for many years, we've had incredible sponsorships with Fast Model, who you and I love because of the designing of drawing up plays. If I went back in my early years, all the napkins and placemats in restaurants I had of my plays, now they're all Hudl, and I'm organized now. But and then we came across 8-9 years ago Dr. Dish, who has the best training machine, for player development in the business. And they've just been an incredible partner with us. So, those are the kind of relationships that we've had for years, and that I think are really makes us unique and special in those fields.
Absolutely, Brendan. We couldn't ask for a better group of partners, with Hudl, Dr. Dish, Fast Model. It's been awesome, working with those guys. They've been extremely gracious. And if you want to learn more about both these events, we're actually going to open registration at the end of this month for both of those. We're going to have special discount pricing for a first certain number of registrations. So to learn more, be sure to visit coachandyoulive.com, sign up for our newsletter at the bottom of our homepage, and you'll be the first to know whenever registration opens. So we're going to hear from some of those sponsors now. When we get back, Coach will let you know more about what's coming in 2023.
We're thrilled to have our longtime partners and friends at Dr. Dish Basketball on board as sponsors of the Coaching You podcast. Dr. Dish machines are undoubtedly the most user-friendly and advanced machines in the world of basketball today. Dr. Dish has completely revolutionized and reimagined the shooting machine to provide the best solution on the market. Join top programs around the world like Duke, North Carolina, Florida, and countless others, and upgrade your shooting machine to Dr. Dish. Dr. Dish machines are the best way to increase purposeful reps in your program to get players better, faster, while tracking progress along the way. Dr. Dish provides so much more than just your standard shooting machines with custom training, pro trainers, and coaches on demand, real-time and detailed analytics, and top-of-the-line drills and workouts. If you're looking to take your program to the next level, look no further than Dr. Dish for the best basketball training machine in the world. If you have an old machine that's just collecting dust in your gym, did you know that you can trade that in for to Dr. Dish for up to $1,500 off and get a new dish. Make sure to give our friends at Dr. Dish a follow at Dr. Dish B-Ball on Twitter and Instagram for great daily drills, workouts, tips, and inspiration. Or contact us at drdishbasketball.com. Don't forget to mention Coaching You or our podcast for $300 off your purchase. Coaches, are you looking to take your game preparation to the next level? Then Fast Model Sports is the perfect coaching software for you. With FastDraw, build an organized library of plays and drills and create professional playbooks to share with your players and staff. You can also download over 9,500 free plays and drills from our Playbank directly to your FastDraw account. Looking for a better way to build your scouting reports and want to include video? With FastScout, build custom scouting report templates to prepare your team best for each individual opponent. Plus, did you know with the latest updates from Fast Model Sports, you can now include video with your FastScout reports and share with your coaches and staff all within the FastScout mobile app. The combination of FastDraw and FastScout is by far the best way for you and your coaches to create winning game strategies and effectively communicate them to your team. Over 10,000 high school and youth coaches trust Fast Model Sports products to help their teams reach their goals. To order, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any FastDraw or FastScout products. Remember, go to fastmodelsports.com. Use code COACHINGU15 to get 15% off any FastDraw and FastScout products. Hey, welcome back to our Coaching You podcast with the Coach Brendan Suhr and Zach Kendrick. And one of the things that we've also done since last spring and summer is we've really dove headfirst into how can we improve learning. And, unfortunately, everyone in the world can't come to Las Vegas in July to learn. Some people don't have the finances to come. So what we have really worked very hard for the last 2 years is putting together what we feel is one of the great learning apps there is. It's a platform, Coaching You Plus. And what it does is it has every one of our clinic speakers, everything we've done over the course of so many years that you can get on there for your learning so that you can learn at any time on demand on any device, whether it be your phone, your iPad, or your computer. We have found for those that are technology challenged like myself, it is so easy for me now. I can literally pick up the phone and I can see right now that my man, Willie Green, the coach of the Pelicans, how he gave a rock the gym talk last summer in Vegas, where now all of a sudden I can see, I'm having trouble in problems in relationships with a player. I can go back to one of the 6 talks that Doc Rivers has given over the years about how to coach people and how the most important thing in coaching is to coach every player like it's your own son or daughter. I mean, these are tidbits and nuggets that have been shared by coaches over the years, and how Eric Spoelstra or Stan Van Gundy or Jeff Van Gundy have talked to our coaches about how to do things better. So it's all there for you. And the beauty of it is it's affordable. That was one of the things. We wanted this app to be for coaches anywhere in the world. We wanted it to be affordable. For $9.99 a month or $99 a year, you can get the world's best learning. We keep adding to it. We have partnerships with state associations all over the U.S. And we have, from Florida to Tennessee and so many more to add to it now. We have all the speakers in their clinic are now on our Coaching You Plus app. So when we go to have a clinic there, you're getting the speakers that were at their clinic this past year, because the learning never stops. We want every one of our coaches that is involved with us on our Coaching You Plus app to be have a growth mindset where you never stop learning. I know more basketball now having coached 50 years than I ever did when I was winning world championships, because I never have stopped learning. I keep learning more. And this has just helped me so much because I'm constantly being educated by the best coaches in the world. And so I think you'll really enjoy that. But go to coachingyouplus.com for more info on it. And I think you'll really, really enjoy that relationship. But Zach, I'm going to talk about now what you and I have planned for 2023 on our podcast. And I think this is really exciting. After doing these for so many years, we started podcasting. We were one of the earliest ones where we were doing it on a darn cell phone connection. And it was, dark times, no video, no nothing like we're doing now, no big time microphone. And we were having world-class guests back then. But we wanted to change up because what we found out, that people were, wanted 45 minutes, an hour with us and stuff like that. Some coaches thought we were part of a workout program for them, that they wanted 45 minutes so that they could work out. Our dear friend, Eric Musselman at Arkansas, one of the great coaches in the world, he just wants that every 45 minutes when he's on the elliptical, he's got a Coaching You podcast to listen to. And we love that, But what we want to do now is kind of get world-class coaches. We wanted them to share some of their insights with us and make it a little bit shorter, but really get some meat in it, real basketball stuff. But at the same time, you had this fantastic idea because people are always asking us coaching questions. And Zach, if you would explain to them the new way we're going to have participation from our listeners in every one of our podcasts this year with a Q&A.
You're still going to come to the Coaching You podcast to hear, the great interviews by Coach Brendan Suhr every week with, a phenomenal coach from various levels around the world. But one thing we want to do is we want to bring you into the conversation as well. And there's a couple different ways we're going to do this. Last week we actually just did a quick little tweet, had some people respond via DMs. But we've actually incorporated into our homepage for our podcast a way that you can actually go on, give us a voice message, kind of explain a little more in depth as opposed to the, limited a direct message on one of our social media platforms. But if you go to anchor.fm/coachingyou, you're able, or even look in the show notes on whatever platform you're listening to, there'll be a link. And in that link, you can go ahead and submit your questions. They'll all come to us. And, we may not get to it the very next week, but we want to make sure that we bring you into the conversation like we mentioned. So I guess, Brendan, if you want, do you want to get into a couple that we received?
let's try a few, and I think this will be good. And then next week when we have our next podcast, everything will be incorporated into it. But let's give it a try just so that folks can get an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. So the first one we received was a DM on Twitter. It says, Big Blue Nation and Bulls fan here. I've heard several times on the pod that you prefer to foul up 3. Both my teams were in this situation last week. The Bulls fouled and lost. Kentucky did not foul and won. What are your thoughts? Obviously, this person's talking about the Bulls with Donovan Mitchell with the rebound follow, where Uncle Billy voiced his displeasure with what he thought was a no call on a violation. And then Kentucky was actually against LSU. I was watching that game. LSU wasn't even able to get a 3-point attempt off toward the end. So Brendan, what are your thoughts on this?
Basically, my thing is, analytics now have become a big part of basketball at every level, high school, college, and pro. And also, 3-point shooting has become a huge emphasis. So kids are practicing threes like they never have before. My philosophy is very simple. If I'm up 3 and I'm on defense, I am going to not take a chance that you're going to tie the game up and send it into overtime. I'm going to take the percentage that I'm going to foul you in a non-shooting foul. You're going to go to the line, have to make 1-on-1 or 2, and then, we're going to win the game. That is percentage game that I am playing. I've seen too many, and I've been involved with too many games where we didn't foul and lost. And, you can give me all the excuses of things that could happen, but I'm going to, again, play the analytics and percentage game of what I think is the right thing to do. someone says, okay, this happened the other day. I'm down 3. I'm down 3, and I got above 15 seconds to go in the game. Should I come out and shoot a 3 to try to tie the game? And the answer is no. Try to go and get a quick 2. Try to get a layup and a foul.
Extend the game.
And then extend the game. Yeah. Because if you miss that 3 and you foul, then you're down 5, the game's over. So I think time is important. But most importantly, these are things that you don't draw up in a timeout. These are things that you have to practice from the start of the season on. You practice these things as part of your special situations every single day. You know, football is so good at playing what they call situational football because they practice all the things that can happen, including 2-minute drill every single day. And I think it's so important that we in basketball, I try to cheat and steal everything I can from football because I think those guys are way more organized as coaches than basketball guys.
All right, the next question. I have a district game coming up in 2 weeks. I'd like to throw a different defense at them. What's your favorite, in quotations, junk defense that I can install in a short amount of time?
Yeah, again, I believe that the biggest thing as a coach is for you to give your team a chance to win. I can never understand why a player might get at the high school level 35, 40, 45 points, or at the college level, same thing, and at the NBA level 40, 50 points, or even 71 points. Why that would ever happen. Years ago, Chuck Daly and I, we put in the Jordan rules to stop the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, by double teaming him every time he touched the ball in the scoring area. That was for the greatest player of all time. And what we banked on is 2 things, that Michael was such an unselfish player that he would pass the ball. And he did. But it kept him from getting, as he did the game before we put it in, 49 points against us, 37 in the second half, that we put this in. And I had the 2 best defensive players in the world on one team, in Joe Dumars and Dennis Rodman, and we still put a double team on Michael Jordan. The purpose was to give your team the chance to win. So I'm encouraging you to try something. I personally like a box and 1. At the high school or college level, if there's one outstanding player, take someone, put him on that guy, face guard him, and put the other players in a 4-man defense that you do in practice, where you will work on your 5-on-4 scramble and have them play not a hands-up Harry zone, but a very aggressive, leaning to the ball, recovering defense. And I think all of a sudden they have to figure out how to adapt to you. Now you say, well, that will never work at the college level or even a good high school level. And I say, Steve Kerr, world champion, Golden State Warriors, uses it. Nick Nurse, when he was world champion with the Toronto Raptors, he used it, box and 1 and a triangle and 2. Because in the pros, we don't see a lot of zone. We're seeing more now, and we don't see triangle and 2 and box and 1, and both have been very effective. So if the best coaches in the world use it against the best players, it can help you. Trust me.
And our last one for this week, this comes in. In your opinion, what's the most effective pick and roll coverage?
Ooh, this will be a 1-hour clinic.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, this is the whole thing always comes down to these questions. And I always teach by asking questions. I'm not Socrates, trust me. But I think, one of the things that I always do is, when you're playing against teams that play pick and roll, here's the 2 most important things. Who has the ball? Is it Kyrie Irving type of player, LeBron James type of player, or is it the LaMelo Ball? Is it someone that is very explosive that can really score, or is it a non-shooting, non-scoring guard, but the screener is Kevin Durant, who's a great 3-point shooter, or is it someone that can really screen and roll to the basket? DeAndre Ayton is a good example, who can score and finish at the rim, either via lob or can just catch it in the lane and score. So I think those 2 factors you have to evaluate. There's a lot of switching going on at every level now. I think that's an interesting thing to do, but you always are running into problems if the player that is you're switching is very, very big. Now, what the NBA has done to combat that is now the offensive attacks in the NBA are, if I'm a really good offensive player, I have the worst defensive player on the other team. I have his man come and set a ball screen for me so that now when I come off and you switch, I now have got the worst defender on your team guarding me and I'm the best player. This is why I say the NBA is so innovative because they figure stuff out. I'm going to be nice and use McAfee language this morning.
This is a clean podcast, right? Make sure we got kids in the
podcast.
car.
Very clean. 23. Yes, there's young people in the car. Good call, Coach. And so, I think this is really important. So you see that. But I also believe that if you're playing against the Kyrie Irving and that type of thing, I love trapping ball screens because I want to make Isaiah Thomas get trapped and pass the ball, not let them score. So I think this is really important. The Donovan Mitchells in a big game, you trap them, make them pass the ball. So I think it has a lot to do. There's a lot of ball screens now at the college level where they're now what we call icing them or forcing the ball to the sideline and not letting them come off a screen. These are decisions that you have to make. There's 6 or 7 ways to defend ball screens. You have to pick out the 2 or 3 that you think, not 1, 2 or 3 that might be most effective for your team. And that's part of the education that you'll see in our Coaching U Plus app and also our clinics and our special guests that we'll have during the year, Zach. And I think those are where you really learn, where we ask some of the best coaches, men and women across the country and even around the world, what they think is what their favorite coverage is and why. That's how we learn.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate everybody who sent in a question this week. We only had 3 come in, so that's what we covered. But, we're excited to get more come through. Like we said, DM us on Twitter. Absolutely look in the show notes for those listening, and then just go ahead, click the link, record your voice message, and we'll be on the lookout. That's something we're excited about going through this season for sure. Coach, you mentioned Kyrie. What about what Jacque Vaughn has done in a short amount of time in Brooklyn?
Yeah, Jacque Vaughn, I've known him since he was a college player at Kansas, and I've known him since he was a player in the pros. Incredible young man, now an incredible young coach. And I was living in Orlando when he got the Magic job. And they were nice. They rewarded him with one of the worst teams you could ever have in the NBA, nice. And say, hey, welcome to coaching in this league. And you have no chance of winning. And now he got thrown into what I think is the hardest thing to do in coaching. You be an incredible top assistant on a team that has a lot of talent and everything goes sideways. Steve Nash is one of my favorite human beings and players that's ever played in this league. He's a class act, a great guy, very positive person. For some reason, he didn't work with that team. For whatever reason, don't know. But now all of a sudden, you get thrust into, you are taking over what we would nicely call a blank show. And after 7 games, and you have a player that demanded a trade in Kevin Durant during the summer that they didn't move. You have a player like Kyrie Irving who, got suspended by the team for remarks that he made. And then, of course, our friend and former player, Ben Simmons, who had missed over a year with injury and stuff, now coming back. So they were taking over a team that people were labeling the worst franchise in the NBA. And this guy has just flat out crushed it under the worst circumstances. That's leadership. That is connecting with your players. That's developing trust. I am so happy for Jacque Vaughn. He has gone from a relatively no one knows assistant, has the best beard in the coaching profession. I love it. He just looks great. Yeah, it looks great. And all of a sudden now he's up almost to be the all-star coach. And I think this is really incredible and a great story, and one which coaches can really say, that could be me someday. You could take over and have a bad job, but you know what? Joe Mazzulla are stepping in on quasi-interim basis, and now they are crushing it and therefore becoming full-time coaches. Great question there, Zach, on that. Love Jack Vaughn.
Oh, no, he's the best. And you mentioned his leadership. I thought we saw two other pretty phenomenal cases of leadership, in this past week. The first, did you happen to see Buzz Williams in Gainesville last week with what they were spotted a point for a technical? Did you see this?
They lost a point.
Exactly. Yes, they didn't. They spotted Florida. Excuse me.
Yeah, they did something that we can only relate to of someone who is responsible for the uniforms leaving them in the hotel back there, and saying, it wasn't my fault. And so they start. I've never seen that in the college game.
I haven't either.
Power 5 game.
Either. Now we've seen some close calls, for teams we've been a part of, but never saw it get that close to tip. But then in the post-game press conference, of course,
I did not see.
Oh, so it was pretty great, Brendan. I know with you being a friend of his, you'll enjoy this, but it's typical Buzz, right? They get to the podium, and one of the first questions out of a reporter's mouth, what happens with the jerseys, right? And he just took it blame. He said, you know what? It was my fault. I left the jerseys in my room. And everybody's like, what? Kind of giving him that look. And right away he said, nope. He said, whenever I was a student manager, I've been in those guys' shoes. My head coach would have stuck up for me. So guess what? It was my fault. It's spot on, right? Like when your guys got your back like that. I thought that was a phenomenal lesson.
That is great. And that is Buzz Williams.
It's so Buzz.
Get better. Love Buzz Williams. Love him as a coach. Love him more as a man. And that's Buzz. You're right, Zach. That's great. I love him.
100%.
And he is just one of the really, really neat leaders we have in college basketball. On the men and women's side, we have all kinds of great people, and hopefully you'll hear. He's been a guest of ours and before, and hopefully, he's in retirement on podcasts right now. So I'll see if I can draw him out, but it may be with that story. So that's a good one.
Yeah, the other,
all right, Zach. Till next. You got another one for me?
Oh,
okay.
We have the story of the week. All right. So obviously, in the DeMar Hamlin, very unfortunate situation last Monday night.
Sure.
We saw very tough situation, but we saw leadership on full display with both Sean McDermott and my man in Cincinnati. I just went blank on his name.
Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor. Love him.
There you go.
Your brother, Zach Taylor.
Yeah, my brother that I forgot his name. How good is that, right? I won't forget Joe and Jamar. I promise you that. But we've had this conversation about Sean, and I just would love for you to share some of that with the listeners.
Well, the thing, to have what happens, I've never, thank God, been part of something like that. But to have those coaches come together and the thing that I'm all in on Sean McDermott.
Yes.
Anything he ever asked me to do, I'm lining up for him, because this man and leadership comes in all packages. They don't always look like Pat Riley. They don't always, this is a guy that was a tremendously talented assistant coach for years. He gets the job in Buffalo. And when Zach Taylor saw that Sean was over there struggling on his sideline, he walked across the field and said, what's up? And he goes, I have to go to the hospital with DeMar. I can't coach the game. And that tells you right there, this guy's playing for a Super Bowl and home field advantage, and he's not even worried about that. He's worried about his player in the hospital, and that I can't be here. He didn't say we're not playing. He said, I have to go to the hospital and be with my player. And Zach Taylor at that point said, well, then we can't play. And those two individuals, along with their incredible leadership of both of their players on their teams, stepped up and said, we're not playing. And the commissioner, thank God, also, him and the leadership in the NFL also exhibited the same thing. And it's easy to lead when you have days and hours. It's tough as heck to lead when you have minutes and seconds. And that's the thing. Now, Sean McDermott, who openly professed to be a Christian man the other day, which nowadays takes courage to do, said, our world is a better place when we love first, think about people first. I think we will, and be positive first. Our world can learn from what happened from this week. And he is 1,000% right. And that while all that crap was happening in our Congress in the U.S. last week over whatever, these guys on the playing field, sports once again led the way and how to lead. And I always say that, we are in a win-loss business, and both of those teams won. They were exceptional, and they taught the world lessons. And non-sports fans learned what was really important. It was a person's life. And coaching is about your players. It's not about you. Coaches that worry about their own wins and losses, they're missing the boat. It is about you, your players. And when you always put the players first, you'll be at the head of the class. And remember, like Doc said, coach every player like he's your own son or daughter. And I think you'll be in a fantastic position to go forward. Not worry about yourself. Zach, till next week, my friend. This is going to be a great year for us, and I really look forward to it. And any questions or suggestions that our listeners have, as always, we are coachable. And so till next week, this is the coach, Brendan Suhr, and Zach Kendrick.